Okay.
Hello, cats and kittens. It has been a very, very long time.
Yeah.
But I'm Hargal here, and here with my really good friend Mollie,
Hey.
who we are doing a new movie review because we haven't done one in a very long time. And I felt like Miss Mollie needed to help me because I know y'all are tired of hearing me. So it might help if we have somebody else.
Yeah.
So, what did we go see, Miss Mollie?
Wolfman.
Now, this is not the 42, I think it was, Lon Chaney Jr. version, of course. And they tried to restart. Okay. I'm sorry, we have cats. So they tried to restart the Universal Monsters thing several years ago when they did the remake of The Mummy with Tom Cruise. And it was terrible. And they tried to give it a nudge with Invisible Man that was remade several years ago with Elizabeth Banks, I think her name is. I don't know. The one that kind of looks like a man. She's a really good actress, but it was just kind of a swing and a miss. It was very weird, this Invisible Man. Yeah. But this Wolfman, I was so excited to see it because the trailer looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about the trailer?
The trailer looked honestly awesome. If I had to rate it out of 5, it would have been like a 4.5.
For the trailer, yeah.
Yeah, the trailer, yeah. Oh, cat.
And this is Jacob. This is not my cat. He kind of, Jacob, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Baby.
Thank you. Exit stage left. Okay, so the thing about this current movie that I was a little frustrated with, the premise is a man and his family, which is, and I'm assuming they live in Seattle, from what I could tell.
Mm-hmm.
It starts off in the mountains of Oregon. It's the man as a child and his father. And his father is some kind of survivalist, and he's very harsh, and he's former military and all that stuff, and he's actively trying to protect the boy. Well, it kind of switches to 30 years later, which
30 years later, that's all it said.
And he's with his family as a grown man in Seattle. It's him and his wife and the daughter. And from what I gathered, he's out of work, and he is an at-home dad. And so the girl has bonded more so with the dad than with the mom. And what do you think about the relationship between the dad and the daughter?
And the daughter?
Yeah.
I think, honestly, it's a good relationship, but the daughter's too old.
So what we talked about it a little bit, and the way they portray her, I think maybe it was written for somebody that was 6 or 7 years old from the dialogue and from her behavior, but the girl that plays it is probably 9. So it was just really weird kind of disconnect for me. Most people wouldn't notice, but Mollie noticed, and I noticed. So what about the relationship between him and the wife?
The wife, I'm pretty sure the wife wasn't so close with him because she always had to work, and she wasn't close with the daughter whatsoever. So I think their relationship is kind of failing, but they're trying to make it better for their kid. It's like when you divorce someone and you still have a really young kid, or you're pregnant with a kid, and it's like maybe a baby or a toddler. You're trying to act like you're happy together because you don't want to make it weird for your kid.
Exactly. And it never really expressed what other problems there were between them, other than the fact that maybe she resented him a little bit for not working. It never really said. So the father I've never seen before. He was decent at the role, and he had a little bit of depth to him. The kid was an interchangeable kid. But the mother was the curly-haired girl from Ozark, and she also played in that Netflix thing about the Russian British grifter socialite thing. I don't know. I don't know this shit. But I think the problem with her is that she was great in Ozark, but I think she lacks a lot of depth and a lot of
emotion.
Yeah, vulnerability. I think one of the problems I have with Tom Cruise is that he doesn't have any vulnerability. The same thing with DiCaprio. I think when you don't have that vulnerability about you and you can't portray that on screen, you just kind of miss the character. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that about her too?
Yeah, it's just she could have been, someone else could have been chosen, which would be probably better for the movie.
Yeah, I think it was a miscast.
She doesn't she like misses the mom role. She is. It's just like whiff. Like someone else should have been it.
And we'll get into that in just a second. You are hogging the limelight, Jacob.
Come
here. Sorry. So it switches to the dad's, the father, his name's Blake, I think. So Blake gets a package in the mail saying that his father is officially declared dead. So in my vast old age knowledge, it usually takes about 7 years of somebody being missing or whatever it is to declare them dead. So this will be pertinent in just a minute. So
again.
So I assume they're in Seattle, so he convinces his wife and daughter to come away with him to clear up his father's things in Oregon. Well, it kind of starts off with a bang. You want to tell them what happened?
Okay, so they are driving to the house, and the daughter, like, they stop the car because, like, they're trying to find the house. Apparently, they're looking for the house, and they pull up in a driveway that they think is the dad's, but it's not.
It's deep woods. It's deep in the mountains. It's deep away from anything. There's not a nearest town for miles. There's no cell service.
Yeah. And then the daughter is, like, the mom's trying to, like, make friends with the daughter, but since they don't know where they are, the daughter's just, like, kind of looking around, and there's this, like, deer hunting station thing.
A deer blind.
But she calls it a treehouse. And there's some person in it. And she points it out to the dad and mom, but, like, where? And the dad's like, no one is. But then the mom's like, yes, look. So there is someone there. And he goes down, and the mom's freaking out because he has a gun, and he's like, they don't know him. He's just a random. But the dad's like, it's fine. Everyone around here has guns. So he rolls down the window, and they start chatting. Apparently, the dad knows him from way, way back when he was a little kid. And he was the son of
a friend of the father's.
Yeah, a friend of the father's. But, like, they're trying to figure out where they are. But, like, he explains to them that is not their dad's driveway. That is his driveway. But he can show them where the house is.
Yeah, so he gets in the vehicle with them, and which all of this is kind of odd. It's a very weird kind of reaction, and I take it to everything just seems very forced. It's kind of difficult to describe. The dialogue is very stiff. It doesn't have a lot of depth to it. It's just, you can tell that it's a nice family. You can tell that they're struggling. You can tell all that. But there just doesn't seem to be emotion attached to it. And back up just a second. When they were in the city, the daughter kind of runs off from the dad, and it scares him to death. And he's like, my job is to protect you. My job is to protect you. And that's what his father said to him. So he has this in his head that he is the patriarch of the family, and he's the one that's supposed to help everybody, and he's the one that's supposed to make things right. So the guy gets in the vehicle. Oh, and here's T'Challa.
Fat baby.
Large fat man. Okay, fat man. Go this way. Go that way. Go that way. So, and they're driving along, and where would a horror movie be without a hitchhiker, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so they're driving along, and they're talking kind of back and forth, and the father doesn't pay attention as usual, which rule number 1 of driving in a scary movie. Don't do a movie review with cats. But rule number 1 in a scary movie, watch the frickin' road.
Exactly.
So they see this thing, this man, this standing in the middle of the road. So if it were me, I would have been like, kept going. Yeah. If it was a cat or an animal, nah. But so he's like, bah! And he goes off the road, and they end up going down. You're talking deep woods here, grass, everywhere. So they end up going over a ravine into a tree. So they're stuck between 2 trees. Okay, your turn.
Their whole van is stuck between 2 trees. And, like, the guy, Derek, which was
the hitchhiker.
The hitchhiker.
Not the hitchhiker, but the friend.
Yeah, the friend that got in the car that was flirting with the mom. Weirdo.
Gross.
Freak. Anyways, he's freaking out. So he unbuckles his seatbelt and he gets out the car because he doesn't realize that they're sideways. And he falls out of the car.
Onto the ground because they're between 2 trees, like elevated.
Yeah, like the car is like supposed to be like this, but it's turned like this.
Yep.
Like that, the driver's seat's over here and the passenger seat's right here, and they're just like sideways.
Mm-hmm.
So he's freaking out. He doesn't know they're sideways, so he goes out of the car and he like hits the ground with like a slam, and he's like he can't move. He's like
he knocked himself out, we assume.
yeah.
So then they hear like growling noises and animal noises and stuff, and it takes the mother and the daughter a little bit of time to wake up, but the dad's kind of, he was belted in, but he hit his head on the wheel. And so he hears this noise and he's trying to shut the door. He looks and he sees that this guy's already on the ground, and he looks and he sees there's really not a hell of a lot he can do for him. So he tries to shut the door because, I would too. And then when he manages to shut the door, this claw or this hand comes through, breaks the window, and it takes just a second. And I think it was just kind of odd because there was really, I don't know if there was a reason why that the creature did that. Why would he do that? But he broke the window. Yeah. So he just kind of breaks the window while he was closing the door, and the dad gets cut. Blake gets cut right here.
Yeah, he's scratched.
And then he just doesn't think anything of it. And then the next time he looks down, the guy on the ground, Derek, the guy on the ground, the creature like tears apart his guts and drags him off.
Yeah.
Okay, then what?
So before that, the mom and the daughter, like the dad's like forcing like get out of the car, crawl through the window, get up onto the top of the truck. The one thing I don't understand though is how the creature got to the window. Like you're up in the tree and there's no really weight on the tree. Like was squished between two trees, and the mom and the daughter are on like the roof of the car, like the back. Since like it's like a pickup truck.
It's like a moving truck.
Yeah. Yeah, where you like put stuff in it to like move to a house, or that's a pickup truck. Whatever. I'm silly. Not a pickup truck. Anyways.
Forward.
But one thing I don't understand is how he like
could get under the vehicle, because if they were in so here's your moving van like this, and they're stuck in the tree sideways like this, to where the passenger seat and the driver's seat are vertical. So that's why the guy fell out onto the ground, because he fell out, the door opened, he fell out, and he fell maybe 100 feet or something like that, because they're stuck in the top of the trees, right? Mm-hmm. How did the fucking werewolf or whatever, because, they don't know that it's a werewolf, like they've never seen a damn movie before in their life. Yeah. So how does he break the window from underneath?
I don't understand that.
Anyway, suspension of disbelief, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so they get out, they climb out, they get to the ground, and then this thing's still howling. So they run, and they finally get to the grandfather's house, and they have the keys, and they unlock it, blah, 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 and they go in the house and shut the door.
And one thing about it that makes no sense, it's like, in that whole entire house, there are no weapons except for knives in the knife drawer, like silverware.
So in the previous beginning scene, when Blake was a little boy, you see his dad is an avid hunter, military avid hunter, which means this MF's going to have guns up one side of the street and down the other. They're isolated in the middle of this off-the-grid type thing. He's got a greenhouse. They hunt their food. There was no backstory. But there's bars on the doors. He makes his own jerky. He does all these different things. He grows his own food. He shoots his own deer. But when they go into this house that supposedly has been abandoned for how long, because the father's officially declared dead, the grandfather's officially declared dead, it takes 7 years to officially declare somebody dead. Is this house vacant for 7 years? Was there people in this house? There's never any explanation. But they don't even bother looking for a gun.
It's like they knew that there's no gun, this is planned, which it is, because it's a movie, but like...
Either that, or they're from Seattle, so they're super, super liberal. So they're like, guns! No, guns!
I've never fired a gun in my life because I'm a wuss! And guns are scary! Ah!
No guns.
But, so the dad's like trying to calm down the mom and the kid, which I can't quite remember her name. I'm just going to call her Georgia. Sounds like
Ginger. Ginger was the kid's name, which, stripper name, but anyway.
Yeah, anyways. He's trying to calm them down.
But the mother's not really reacting. The mother is one of those people that I don't know if she's just grossly miscast or if that's the way her personality is supposed to be, but it's like she's not really reacting. She's just kind of...
She's just like staring like...
It's just weird. So he's trying to bar the door. He's trying to do whatever he can to keep this thing from getting in. They don't know what it is. It's in the beginning of the night. So it's nighttime, but it's just the beginning, like 7 o'clock. So he's trying to move stuff, and she's just kind of standing there. It's just odd. If it were me, I'd be like, batten down the hatches, let's go. But it's like she didn't really do anything.
Yeah, she just stood there and blinked, just went.
It was just weird. And then it took him about an hour or so when he started to feel really bad, and she noticed that he was cut. So they look at his arm, and the arm...
It looks like glass cuts then.
It was bad. It was a bad laceration. So she cleans it up, and she's like, this doesn't look like a glass cut, blah, blah, blah. And so he's like, what is that smell? And she's like, I don't smell anything. So he goes and he finds that his dad had a larder, some kind of where he hung meat. It was like indoor smokehouse or something, and there were legs of meat. Okay. So this is a part that I don't understand. Mm-hmm. If the father was officially declared dead, takes 7 years, right? Was that meat in there for 7 years with no electricity? They had a generator, which, okay. But it's like...
It wasn't on.
Was somebody living at the house? I mean, what was going on? But all of a sudden he walks in and the meat's not maggot filled. The meat's not anything.
The meat's just meat.
The meat's just chilling. It's like a deer leg or a butt or something. And I'm just like, okay, that's a little weird.
Goof.
You know, I'm nitpicky, but if you watch as many movies as I do, you notice shit. And she notices it too. And she's a little. So, anyway, and he starts chewing on some jerky, which, again, has that jerky been in there for 7 years? He bites and one of his teeth comes out. So, he's changing, obviously. And obviously, these people have never seen a werewolf movie or a scary movie or a horror movie or ever read a book in their entire life. So, he starts changing, and it's a quick change. You're talking an hour or so after all this happens, and he's like starting to get sweaty, like his tooth's falling out, he's looking all gross, and then he starts to like not be able to speak coherently.
Yeah. He
thinks he is, but at one point he turns around and he says something to the mom and he says something to the daughter, and they just kind of look at him.
They're just like, cause like she's the kid's out of bed, so he's like telling her to get back in bed, but to them he's not saying a word, he's just like mouthing it.
Or going blah, blah, like Charlie Brown, wah, 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 or something. But instead of saying anything, the mother just looks at him. She's just like...
She's just down the hallway like a horror movie. Just like, you open like a door to the hallway in like a horror movie, and they're just standing there.
And it's just weird because she doesn't project. So you can't really read the expression on her face. What is she thinking? What is she feeling? You can't tell because she's just looking. It's just weird. It's like Dakota Johnson. They can't express. It's weird. I don't know why she's casting anything. Anyway, so you see that he's changing. And then one of the cool things I did like about it was the fact that it switches from her point of view, reality, to what he's actually seeing. Didn't you think that was pretty cool?
Yeah, I think that's like something that boosted up like my likeness to the movie, because you could actually see what he was seeing and he was hearing.
Yeah, and it was weird. It was like...
Everything was like blue and black.
Like an animal. And he starts behaving very animalistic. Mm-hmm. At one point, she looks down and notices that his arm is getting worse. It's like blistering and rotting. Deep. So he has an animal reaction to it. He takes it and he's like, rawr, and he's like chewing his arm like animal-like. But you know what she does the whole time?
She just stares at him and just goes...
Yeah, she just looks at him.
Like...
And I'm going...
Ma'am.
Hit him with something. I mean, but I think the point is that she doesn't want to admit, she doesn't want to give up on him. She's like, he's sick. You've never seen a horror movie before in your life? I don't care how much you love your old man. I mean, I love you to death, kid, but if you started chewing your own arm off, I think I'd hit you with something.
Yeah.
Okay? But, you know, it was weird. Anyway, so I'm trying to get over that. So the whole thing, where does it go from there? How do they... Oh, so the creature outside, he hears him. Blake, the dad, hears him. So you can kind of see him along with the windows that have bars on it. You can kind of see the creature walking around the house. And then they get too close to the door, which is stupid. Why are you... A lot of stupid shit. But if people didn't do stupid stuff, there'd be not a horror movie made ever. Yeah. So I guess the guy reaches through the bottom, like punches through the bottom of the door, grabs the guy's ankle. And so... Miss Mom finally grows a pair and grabs a knife and like stabs the arm to try to get the creature off her husband, and the creature lets go, and you know the husband comes out. But it's just odd. It did have some really cool scenes to where he passes out and then he kind of comes to, and then you see the world kind of from where he is, and she hands him a pad of paper and he writes dying on it. She tries to talk to him and admits that she loves him. But even the mushy scene where she admits that she loves him was kind of like,
ma'am, you could have said this a while ago. Like, I needed this motion. I needed like a more emotion like this throughout the whole movie.
But yes, but even in that little bit of small snippet of motion she tries to portray, it's not very good.
She's like,
I guess I love you, or some shit like that. I mean, it wasn't.
Like, she's like, the only thing sad about her is, like how she has a sad expression, but, like, her voice is just straight up, like, okay, I love you. I can't do this without you.
Okay,
like,
kid.
monotone.
Yeah, real. All right. Bad miscasting. Anyway, so it just kind of goes on, and how do they get out of the house? Does Thing break in? I don't remember.
Well, you missed a scene.
Okay.
It's where the dad is getting his hearing, and the mom and, like, the daughter are upstairs or, like, in the bed because they didn't hear him, and he's just, like, pointing to, like, the couch, like, trying to tell Ginger to, like, you know.
Go lay down.
Go lay down. Like, it's a scene where she's standing in the hallway and has no expression.
Yeah.
But it skips to a part where they're just sitting on the couch together, and the dad's, like, boarding up, like, the door, and he starts hearing, like, these little, like.
But it sounds like pounding, like really loud pounding. And I told Mollie he's getting animal hearing because he's hearing something, so he's trying to go find it. And what does it end up being?
It ends up being a spider climbing up a wall. I couldn't have a spider on set, just to tell you. It could be a rat, it could be a mouse, it could be anything, but a spider climbing up a wall, like.
But to him, it sounded like
Pounding.
It was terrible pounding. So all these little things that they're inserting in there just goes to show he's becoming more animalistic.
Mm-hmm.
The chewing of his arm. Animals will chew their arm or chew their body part if it hurts because they don't understand it. The loud noises, the way he's seeing things in Technicolor, like black and white, but super exaggerated, like he can see at night type things.
Yeah.
His family looks very distorted to him. He can't understand what they're saying. Yes, we get it. You're turning into an animal.
Yes, but
But she's not getting it.
Yeah, but one thing is, he goes outside this one part, which is, like, later in the movie, but for some reason, like, for his, like, animal vision, the trees are pink. They are bright pink, like, hot, bright pink, neon. And I'm just like, I get that you want to see the trees, but, like, that's kind of like an absurd color.
Acid trip. This is the Northwest. Anyway, so, I mean, we're telling you kind of blow by blow, but we've kind of lost it in between there. At one point, the mother looks out the window, and she realizes there's a truck there. Because there's the house, there's a little greenhouse, and then there's the barn. Again, 7 years at least that the granddad has, until he's been declared dead, there's nobody around. Everything should be grown up. Everything should be broken down in at least 7 years. It looks like he left it yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of bothered me a little bit. Still had a greenhouse, still had a barn. There was a truck there, but she goes downstairs and she has the battery and she notices some keys, blah, blah, blah. So here they are. The dad just got attacked. They're trying to run out, and instead of her going out to see if this damn truck even works, she takes all of them outside, puts the husband in the vehicle, puts the girl in the vehicle, and tries to jumpstart this car. She doesn't even know if it runs. Yeah. She brings them all outside.
And, I mean, I bet she hasn't even probably, like, driven a Standard or something.
She lives in Seattle. She's probably never driven a car in her life.
Yeah, but she goes to keys in, and she's going to the, no. Sorry, cat's fighting. But she's going to, like, the front of the car to, like, check the, like, front. It's like she's putting all these wires together, and she goes back into the car, closes it, and, like, she's trying to put the car in again, but it will not start. So she goes back out again, and, like, just keeps on trying and trying until she finally closes it and goes back in and it starts working. So it's starting to run. So then she windshield wipes, and the demon werewolf thingy
is on the hood. Oh, big surprise.
It's on the hood. Scary. And
they showed the trailer.
Yep. And it just punches through, like, the
windshield.
Yeah. And it just, like.
And it grabs the gear shift.
Yeah.
So she cannot put it in reverse or whatever. And that makes me think, okay, this is something that it never said. Is the werewolf coherent? Is it human in any way? Can it think? Can it logic? Does it know what it's doing? Does it only happen at night? It doesn't any of this. The only thing that hints at that is the fact that it grabbed the gear shift and pulled it off. But, I mean, that could have been a random anything, too.
Yeah, maybe he missed her and just grabbed it instead.
The only thing I could think of is that she realized that her husband is very sick, and she tries to do the shortwave radio thing that the grandfather had in there for years. But unless you're listening, nobody has a shortwave radio anymore, you know, and there's nobody
This was in,
around.
like, 1985. Sorry.
Yeah, so there's no way to like, cell phones don't work. He didn't have a landline. Anyway, so they run back, and they try to run, and instead of running back to the freaking house, they climb on top of this greenhouse. Now, the greenhouse...
It's like a blow-up. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, it's okay. I'm not mad. I'm just trying to express because it's frustrating. It's metal, like loops, and then it has like vinyl over it.
Yeah, like
So
blow-up.
and there's a ladder next to the greenhouse. Why there's a ladder next to the greenhouse, I don't freaking know. So they take the ladder and they climb on top of the greenhouse, which is made of vinyl in between metal loops. So they're sitting on top of this vinyl and this vinyl splitting. No crap.
And for some reason, the little girl was being stupid, and she's like, here's the parents, like right here, and she's like all the way over here. Why?
And so the werewolf, the creature, you don't really get a good look at him. All you see is that he is kind of humanoid, but then it's all like distorted and stuff. Has clothes on, but runs like a wolf. You see it like...
It's like here's the front legs and back legs. Just
like an animal.
like a cat.
Yeah. Anyway, so he goes into the greenhouse by the door, and he's jumping up and he's slashing, and he manages to slash the vinyl, and so the vinyl starts to rip, and for some reason this stupid little kid runs across the vinyl to her parents.
And she falls through because the metal's not really stable. It's 7 years.
What made this child decide to run across where the werewolf was slashing, so there's slashes in the vinyl, so it's not stable, to run across to her parents? And I'm like, dumbass.
And her legs go through, and the werewolf just looking up like, okay. Like, he's not even trying to grab at her. Her legs are just flailing, and she's screaming, and, like, the werewolf's just, like, sitting there like, oh, legs.
So the father now has developed a really bad underbite. He's developed, like, he's got the teeth. He's got weird eyes. His eyes are changing.
He's losing hair.
He's losing hair. He's just, he's becoming more animal-like, but he's still coherent at this point. So he can't speak. So he just grunts and points for them to go over to the farmhouse, and he's going to lead the wolf out, whatever it is, out. Yeah. So he jumps down and he goes into the woods, and whatever it was follows him. So the girl and the mom go into the house. She unlocks everything, gets in the house, closes the door.
And then the girl's upset, like, oh, you left him out there, go get him! And the mom's just like, fine, okay, I'll go. And she unlocks the door, and the dad's just standing there like, hey!
And you hear a bunch of growling and stuff in the woods. You hear like a cat fight or an animal fight in the woods, and then the father's like standing there. And like the kid is like a titty baby. She's like, you left my dad, blah, blah, blah.
Go back and get him, or else I'll cry and throw a fit.
Like
because I'm 7. I'm 2, actually.
Who wrote this freaking dialogue?
I don't know.
Anyway, so the mother takes the father back in the house, and he sits down, and he's like all torn up, and he goes and barfs, and he barfs up this finger, because he obviously ate the finger off of whatever it was, and it was a claw.
Yeah, so, and he also loses all of his teeth, so now he's getting like more.
He's getting more animal-like. But it's like you can still see that there's somewhat of him in there, right? And the whole time I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know how I would react if I were the mom. I don't know if I would be as like, oh, he's just sick. I would be like, no, this is dangerous for everybody. And she's not really reacting that way.
She's just looking at him like...
Yeah, she's just looking at him. And you can't read the expression on her face because she's not very vulnerable. I mean, she's just not. It's just like blank, like Dakota Fanning.
Yeah, like the only time she screams is when he barfs up the teeth in the finger.
Yeah.
That's like she goes, ah, and holds the kid, and then the kid's just like, ah.
Yeah, it's just weird. Anyway, so at one point, she does something, and he runs at her like an animal and get on her face, because with dogs, they have to like alpha male type stuff. And I could not read the expression on her face.
She was just like staring at him like...
Yeah, and to me, I was like, okay, is she showing him she still loves him? Is she letting him know she's the alpha? Is she letting him know that she's not scared of him? Is she letting, but there was none of that. There was absolutely none of that. It was just the weirdest freaking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so, we're skipping over some parts, but that basically was the movie. And at the very last part of it, I really don't want to do the spoiler. I don't. But at one point, I think they go out to leave again or something, and the original werewolf comes through the door and attacks the dad. And like it's an animal fight scuffle, and they're beating each other up.
And the mom stabs him in the back. So it's now aggroed on her.
Yeah.
So it's going to try to get her, because she takes the kid and shoves her in a room and like shuts it and locks it. Well, she doesn't lock it because the lock's on the inside of the room. Like, she just shuts it in there like, oh, you'll be fine. And so the door is here where the kid is in. The wolf is in the hallway here. The dad has been passed out by the werewolf, the original creature. And she's over here. So she runs, and he kind of runs after her, and she starts hitting him with a fireplace poker. Mm-hmm.
What did the creature look like to you?
It looked like one of those, like the dad or like the grandpa.
Well, now you get it away. But the original wolf.
Yes.
The original wolf, the one that attacked the dad. He looked more like Hills Have Eyes, like inbred, retarded hillbilly. Really? Is that what you think? Well, have you ever seen that?
Mm-mm.
But he had the teeth and the claws. But he had bubble head. He still had a beard, and he had some tattered clothes on and stuff. But it wasn't as wolf-like as I would have liked it to be.
Yeah, it was just he has some fur on his beard and the teeth.
Claws, but no real hair, kind of.
Instead of being an actual wolf.
Yeah.
He was just
Burn victim.
Yeah. He just looked, the only thing unhuman about him was the claws and the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else was just regular human.
So even when she's trying to fight this thing, the original wolf, her husband's passed out. He's half changed. The daughter's in the other room being a titty baby. And she's just expressionless.
She's just poke.
Poke with it, yeah. And so the dad wakes up, her husband wakes up, and
Tackles
comes in
him.
there and gets him by the throat, the original wolf by the throat, and tears his throat out.
Yeah, jumps on him, brings him to the floor, and eats his throat.
I realized, and I told Mollie this about halfway up to this point, I said, it's so-and-so. This is who the Wolfman is. And she's like, maybe. And then she's like, you were right. And I'm like, duh. I've seen a few movies. Anyway, so he knows who it is, and he just gets up, and you still see there's humanity in the dad. I think that's when he does the whole guttural scene and tries to scare her or whatever he does.
Yeah, but then he noticed that she's not scared, and he looks over at the door and is like, let me out because I don't want to hurt you. So he goes out, and that's when the trees turn pink because animal vision, stupid. But
what happens after that?
So she's getting the kid out of the room, and I'm guessing they're trying to leave because the dad is now fully turned, and he's banging on the door, let me back in, because he's not him anymore.
Oh, you don't think it's him?
Yeah.
You don't know how much is left of him and how much he's become wolf, because you can't really tell.
Mm-mm.
It's odd. He goes after them, but he doesn't fully kill them. It's just weird. So she takes the kid and she runs into the barn, and the barn is really the only, and she closes and locks the door or whatever, and she's in total darkness, and she finds a flashlight or whatever, and she finds a chain and a trap. So there's one part that it was kind of creepy. It was pitch black, and it shows that he can see in the dark, completely in the dark, because it shifts to his point of view, and it shows you how he sees them, and they're kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But it shows, when it turns around, it shows how they can't see anything, and he's literally standing right in front of them. So he takes one step and catches his foot in the trap, and she runs, and she attached it to a chain, which was the only smart thing this broad really did throughout the whole thing. In the barn, there were no tools.
No tools, just straight up flashlight, chain.
And a steel trap with a chain attached to it. No garden tools, no lawn equipment, nothing.
Only thing in there was that's in there, but that shouldn't be, is clothes and wraps for I think you would put it in over a plant or something.
Yeah, but that's it. It's just weird. It's superficial shit. Anyway, so she runs out, He's trapped. And I looked at Molly and I said, he's going to chew his leg off. And she's like, why? How do you know that? And I said, because that's what animals do. What does he do? Chew his leg off.
Well, not his full leg.
He chews like right below his knee on one of his legs. But then what does he do?
Like right here.
Right there. But then what does he do?
He starts chasing after him like boom, like with his like with like 3 legs now. He still has half his leg, so he's able to like bounce off of it still. Still stupid, but he's now on like all 4s or all 3s, you could say. But
and runs after them and howls and stops and howls, and by this time he's fully transformed into whatever form he's going to be. So he just looks like he has hydrocephalus because his head is like big and wobbly and like doughy, and he doesn't have any ears anymore. And his eyes have wonderful blue contacts. Barf. And it's just like, okay. And then, of course, he has his shirts ripped, And it shows him transforming a little bit more. But it's not the typical werewolf transform. It's like he's just got boils or something. So he's like loping along as a tripod. And so they run. And, of course, they stop and look.
Like, why did you stop? Like, you're running and, like, they like hear him howl and they hear like a stick like snap.
And they turn and look.
They turn and look and then like they can't see anything, but then they notice him and they're like scream, and then it goes to like a point of view. A point of view, and they start running again. But like it was nighttime 2 seconds ago when they saw him, but now it's like brightest day. It's like you turned on the lights, you flip the light switch, and it's bright.
Oh, and look! All of a sudden, they see their U-Haul in the trees. They're like, "Oh, we're back to where the U-Haul is."
And then they see the dad on the U-Haul. How? Don't know.
How did he get up there?
I don't know how he climbed the tree with half a leg.
Anyway, so then they go back to they see the deer stand that they saw at the first. Now, I'm sorry we forgot about this, but in the very first of the movie, the dad and the son were being chased by
another
one. This was 30 years ago. And they get up and the dad's trying to protect the son, and they see the breath of the wolf creature like come up, but they never see it. The wolf creature decides not to get them for some reason.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to get shot.
Yeah, and then he just goes back down. He doesn't want to die, and he can sense that he's got the gun pointed at him, and he goes back down. And then that's when the dad's like, I gotta protect you, blah, blah, blah.
Anyways, back to here. Now the mom's sitting in there with the gun of Derek since they found his body.
Oh, we forgot about that. Yeah, they found the dismembered body of the Derek, the guy that got into the vehicle that fell out at the very first of the movie.
Because he's stupid. But anyways, he's retarded probably. But anyways, he looked retarded. Continuing on, they're sitting up there with his gun, and like you can hear the dad climbing up the ladder like that. It's like wood scraping, like, cause like it's a wood ladder up to like a.
It's a deer stand.
Yeah.
It's a deer stand.
You're just sitting up there. And, like, so she closes, like, the little door to it and, like, locks the latch. And she's, like, sitting there with the daughter, like, covering her ears. And, like, so she hears him crawling up. So she pulls out the gun. She doesn't know how to shoot one. She lives in Seattle. So she has the gun, or, like, whatever it is, sniper, I don't know. But she's sitting there, and she's, like, waiting for him to come up. So he puts his hand, like, instead of, like, the other wolf, he puts his hand on, like, the door. And, like, puts one hand, two hand, and pulls himself up with the gun pointed at his head. And, like, the kid's looking at him like, oh my god! Ah! Oh, wait, look! He wants this to be over! Because I can read minds! But anyways, the mom...
Yeah, I mean, she's not exaggerating. That's literally how it was. Mm-hmm. The kid looks at him and it's like, he just wants it to be over.
Yeah. Like, the only thing that the dad would do with, like, the kid, he'd just be like, can you read my mind? And the kid would go like this to his head. And he's, like, she's always saying, I love my little girl. Because, like, that's what the dad was, like, thinking. And he was like, how do you do this? Like, as, like, a, joke. Because she's, like, supposed to be 6, 7, 8.
But she looks like she's 9, 10 years old. It was obviously written for a much younger child.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he comes toward the mother, and the mother shoots him in the chest, and he falls off.
Yeah.
And they crawl down, and as he's dying, they go and they pet him. The little girl pets him, and that's it.
And then, like, they walk off, and they find the view that the dad showed him at the start of the movie, that he originally wanted to show them, like the dad, not the grandpa.
At the beginning of the movie, when he got the notice that his father was dead and he had to go clean out the house, He said, y'all come with me. I want to show you this view. I want us to spend time together. I want us all these things. And, you know, as a twist in the movie, I was hoping they would do something unusual. Like the father would want to bite the mom and bite the daughter, or scratch the mom and scratch the daughter, so they all could be a little werewolf family together in the woods. Dead. Yeah, he's just dead.
Yeah,
it would have been more fun if after he died, he turned back to normal, but no.
Nope.
No.
They look out to the view, and then, like, it goes behind them, and you can see the view as well. But then the movie just ends. It goes black, and then the credits start playing. I'm just like...
It wasn't as bad as, like, the movie Presents. We went to go see Presents last night or the night before last, and it was so freaking bad that we walked out about an hour into it. And I usually don't walk out on movies, but that was just like, I'm going to shoot myself, or, you know. I'm just joking, YouTube. I'm just joking. But it was just like, it was awful. And I'm just like, I can't tolerate this anymore. And so we left. But it wasn't that bad, but it just had so many holes in it. Like, who wrote this? Lee Wanell, I think the guy that was behind Insidious. Dun, dun, dun! Insidious!
I love Insidious.
Freaking hate Insidious.
I love Insidious.
Insidious is like Barfarama. It's like it can't decide what it wants to be. It's okay, baby. I still love it anyway.
I like Insidious because, like, I like the characters in it, you know? I like the dad.
Oh, he's hot as hell.
Mm-hmm.
He's hot as hell.
I can't remember his name.
Patrick something.
Yeah, Patrick Jones. I don't know.
He's hot as hell. I mean, I'd lick those shoes. But the main character the main demon looks like Darth Maul. I mean, I remember watching it going, it can't decide if it's a comedy. It can't decide if it's.
Yeah, the only reason. Oh, sorry, but I love Insidious because he's like with Lorraine in The Conjuring. That's why I love him. Yeah,
the partnership of Patrick, whatever is Patrick Owen, I don't remember what his name is, but and then the dark-haired British girl.
That's named Lorraine.
Yeah, they were in The Conjuring together. They were the Warren family.
Yeah.
The Warren couple. But Lee Wanell directed it or wrote it or some, and that's probably why it seems like it's written for toddlers. And I told Mollie, it's like, look, I'm old, so I've seen everything, and I love older movies, so it was definitely written for the modern generation. Mm-hmm. It didn't have a whole lot of depth to it. Mm-mm. It tried. Like, it really tried. Like, it really tried to show that the lineage of... At one point, he tells his daughter, when they were in the tree, and they get to the house and everything, he's like, I made a mistake, and it has scarred you. And I'm sitting here going, the only mistake you made, Bubba, was not really paying attention to the road. Yeah. I don't think how anything else would have been his fault. Mm-mm. But he was like overly concerned about her well-being. And look, I get it. I have kids. I love my kids and all those things. But that was not his fault. But it was like, oh, I'm going to protect you and cry. And I'm scarring you for life. And I'm going, okay.
That's not needed.
But they tried. And I understand the nuances. And I love the nuances of interpersonal connection. But it was a swing and a miss on this one. I just think they could have... The mother was woefully miscast. The father was good for what he was given. Mm-hmm. For what he was given. I think the makeup could have been a little bit more imaginative. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on. Go ahead.
No. It's just like, I wish they had more fur like an actual wolf.
Yeah.
Like if you would imagine werewolves, you'd think like furry, but like buff furry, like let's say like brown hair.
The Howling.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Howling?
No, I haven't.
I got to show you The Howling. But The Howling has the most terrific werewolves. Dog Soldiers has the most terrific werewolves. This was like Hills Have Eyes. With fur, with a little bit of fur.
Yeah, but you'd imagine a werewolf to be like hairy and like big and buff and stuff with like pants, short pants.
Why do they always wear short pants?
Because it's inappropriate. Like if not, like I have a ding-a-ding. I am a ding-a-ding. But anyways.
Okay, so what do we give this movie overall? And we're sorry we spoiled it for you, but we hope you enjoyed our review, cats and all.
Yeah.
What do we give it?
3.
3 out of 5?
3 out of 5. I would give it a half if like the daughter was better.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. Drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think. Otherwise, Horror Gal and Mollie, out till next time.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.